here. This is, I think, my 10th year. So let me read this one here. This particular individual has trash pickups on Tuesdays. Tuesday afternoon, she gets home from work, no trash pickup. Contacts LCG. LCG then transfers her to Republic Services. Let's see. She gives Republic Services all the information, name, contact information, that states that she has not had her trash picked up. Next afternoon, nothing. She gets home from work, the trash is still at the road. She calls LCG again, LCG transfers her back to Republic Services. She gets Republic Services, gives them the identification number that was provided to her by Republic Services, and they say, we don't have any record of your complaint. Okay, that was on Wednesday. Wednesday, let's see, she gets home from work, still nothing. Thursday, her trash is still full. So this time she calls LCG and then asks for the council office. Council office tells her that they're going to go ahead and report it to Republic Services and that it should be picked up on Friday. Friday comes and goes, still nothing. Saturday morning, nothing. That's when I received a phone call. I started texting individuals, letting them know what was happening. This went around, we had 3 or 4 texts. I don't know if either of you two are aware of that. On Sunday, there was some, from what I remember, there was some agreement that it would be picked up Sunday. On Sunday, it wasn't. For some reason, it was supposed to be resolved. Come Monday, it was supposed to be picked up, and initially it was not, but come to find out, by that time, I think somebody from Republic had gone. It was on a Monday afternoon, spoke to another member of the family there at that residence, and they said, look, it's already Monday. Our next day for pickup is Tuesday morning. Okay, why don't you just come tomorrow and pick it up by that time? Okay, that's one of many examples. I've had another one. Like I said, I've been on the council now 10 years. I have one constituent, and I think I mentioned this to you guys a couple earlier. I can guarantee you that this residence has been missed somewhere between 30 and 50 times over that time frame. Their pickup's on a Friday. Come Saturday morning, I get the text, there it is. You know, miss me again. It's not going to happen again. 2 weeks later, it happens again. They take care of it. It's not going to happen again. 3 weeks later, it happens. So I want to give some background information. I think a number of council members are probably very much aware of it. First and foremost, the initial contract that we're in right now with Republic Services actually expires October 2018. That contract was renewed sometime back, I think maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, and they renewed your contract even before it came up to the end to October 2023. A 5-year contract. Right now, what's being paid to Republic Services, total parish and city combined, and this includes recycling, garbage, and maybe yard waste, but anyway, we're looking at $1,330,000 a month. If you take that over 12 months times 5, folks, we're looking at $75 to an $80 million contract for 5 years. No disputing that. Here's the kicker that the residents that I represent really get upset about, especially with this. And this is where we're going to have to ask your help, Public Works, EQ, to help. Let's use this scenario. If I pay a yard man to come to my house and cut my yard every other week, twice a month, and they don't come cut my grass, do you think I'm going to pay them? Absolutely not. If they don't come for 3 months, do you think I'm going to pay them for no services rendered? Absolutely not. None of us here would. Under the existing Republic Services contract, the only way a credit or refund can be given to a resident, a customer, is if Republic Services misses the whole billing cycle, which from what I understand is a 3-month billing cycle. Is that correct? The billing cycle is 3 months.
For the unincorporated residents, it is, yes, sir.
Okay. So we're looking at Republic Services would have to miss once a week, that's 12 times in a row before a refund could be given. So let's assume that the individuals are paying $30 a month. Okay, if you break that down, divided by 4, roughly you're looking at $6 and something. So if you miss a pickup once a month or twice a month, I think the residents should be refunded money. Now, the kicker here is in dealing with this scenario that I read y'all earlier. So that's almost a week, okay? Republic Services can be fined $25 a day after 24 hours, which means if they were supposed to be picked up at, say, Tuesday morning, by Wednesday morning, you have 24 hours. If after that 24-hour period, you're charged $25 a day. So it goes the whole week. You have, that was Tuesday, Wednesday, so Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. That's 5 days. So that's a $125 fine. Now, before we get into where I'm going to go lead into with that, and dealing with fines, I want to make it very clear. And guys, look, very clear. It's not that I don't trust Republic Services. Questionable. But if a resident calls Republic Services, question is, how will LCG ever know there was a missed pickup in order to charge Republic Services a fine of $25? Because I know it's an honor system. I don't think, some businesses do, some don't. They voluntarily fine themselves for a missed pickup and not tell somebody that they have to pay it to. Mr. Dubrock, is that correct? If Republic Services knows about it and LCG does not, you have no way of being able to charge a fine?
That would be essentially correct.
Okay.
Now, we do keep track of the calls that we receive, and we do know that
That's
number.
it. So I want to elaborate and make very clear to the public, anybody listening, anybody who wants to put this in the media, make absolutely sure when you have a missed pickup that LCG is notified one way or another. Call your council office to make sure that they're aware of that. Okay. The situation here with this individual that had roughly 5 days. So Republic Services is going to be fined $125. What's aggravating about this is you have a resident that is paying for a service that should be rendered. It was not rendered. She is not getting a credit or a refund. The individual that was supposed to provide the service is being fined $125. But instead of taking that money and giving a portion back, even $7 back to the individual that paid for the service, that resident's not going to get the money, but you're going to pay LCG's EQ division $125. And none of it goes back to the resident that was paying for the service. Mr. Dubrock, do you still agree with that?
I don't necessarily agree with that interpretation of the way it's
But
set up.
the fine
goes to the environmental quality fund.
environmental quality.
But arguably, the fund benefits the entire parish and every citizen in the parish. The contract was negotiated on behalf of the community of Lafayette and Lafayette Parish.
I agree.
And so the benefits and the revenues that come from those fines and the fees themselves go to the community.
Okay, I understand. But in essence, it is going to the community, but not back to the individual that had
Not to the individual, but in the city of Lafayette, the agreement or the obligation between the constituent is between the constituent and the government, and it's the government's relationship to the contractor that is the obligation there.
Well, I
It's a
understand.
little bit different in the parish because of the direct billing that they're essentially providing a service for the negotiated fee to the individual.
I understand where you're going with that, Mr. Dubrock, and I would say that I'm more in line with siding with the constituents that's paying the bill I feel is that they and we have an obligation to somehow credit them for a service they're paying that was not rendered. That's my interpretation, along with them, which I hear from them all the time. In dealing with missed pickups,
Mr. Terrio.
yes,
Could you get Mr. Dubrog them to clarify when does the fine go into effect, just so everybody can be accurate? I think it's 24 hours after verification. It's not just the
Right.
fact that it was missed. I wanted that to kind of be clear, because that could really move the timelines on some issues, is that once it's reported, there needs to be a verification. Then they have 24 hours after they're notified to correct that. I just thought that would be important.
Mr. Dubrow, you have a response to that?
The penalty comes in after 24 hours after notification. So when the call comes into us, and we notify the contractor, and that's when the time starts. And it's 25 the first day after the first 24 hours, and $25 for every consecutive day thereafter. It's to be said that the fine is not a reimbursement of the fee that's being charged. In reality, the monthly fee for garbage collection is $22.18. Now that includes 4 garbage pickups, and it includes 4 yard waste pickups as well each week, so that's 8. So the average cost per pickup is $3.50. I didn't actually calculate it, but it's somewhere around there. And what you're experiencing is not a denial of service or a failure of service, it's a delay in service. So eventually, and that is why it's defined as a full service period to be in violation, or where a reimbursement would be applicable. But in reality, the fine is more than the monthly fee for 8 pickups. So there's not a direct correlation to the fine. The fine is created as a punitive measure so that to encourage them to conform to the contract.
Okay, let me respond to that. What's interesting is that we have the individuals at the homes that are paying for the services, and I understand you guys break it down, you'll make it look like it's not too much. It's still a lot. $75 to $80 million for 5 years is a lot of money. In Lafayette, before y'all's predecessors, Allied Waste and whoever it was before them, the individuals of Lafayette had the right to deal with trash anywhere they want. They paid their own contractors and could have them picked up as many times a week as they wanted. That switched when this came into effect a long time ago, and then it was initially, I think, twice a week, and then it changed to once a week. So things have changed. The trash issue with the residents of Lafayette, that's a hot topic, okay? Because ever since then, they've been a little upset, no disrespect, but it's a monopoly in what we have in Lafayette, and the contract specifically states that only one provider can provide for all the city of Lafayette and the unincorporated. So, with that said, let me get back to some of these fines. Information provided to me just dealing with, in the last 6 months, garbage and yard waste, Republic Services was fined a little over $40,000. On the recycling side, it was a little over $2,500. I had another individual call me a couple of weeks ago. They've been putting recycling out for weeks and weeks and weeks, being charged for it, and the recycling's never being picked up. So they quit putting it out because they called, nobody ever went. One thing I'd like to see, and I want to see if the administration or Republic Services might think about this, is what about making or have Republic agree to have what's called maybe an escrow account. And then when we have situations where we have customers that have missed pickups, those can either be credited. You don't have to give them a refund, but at least credit their account. Is that something that Republic Services would consider?
You know, Mr. Terrio, at this point, I can't comment or speak to that. First of all, I'm not prepared. I thought this was going to be more of, service and missed pickups. So I really can't answer that question, honestly. So,
Would that be something you're willing to look into? And then providing us with some information?
anything's a possibility, sir.
Mr. Dubrock?
Well, my perspective of this issue is that the contract that we're under was created by your previous administrations that developed the contract with the requirements that are in it. Different clauses and conditions in there were put in as a way to manage this service. The council at that, whatever time it was created, I think, was it 08 maybe, did you say? I'm not even sure when the first contract came into play, but so the fines were created as a motivational tool to both recognize that it's not a perfect world and that there's going to be failure points. There's stipulations that they have to have a 99.75% success ratio.
But that's for everything.
Well, it's subject in this circumstance to their administration of the calls, and it is somewhat of an honor system in a way. But that was a choice made when we created the contract, so that we don't have to administer that detail of an administration by our own forces and our own manpower. So we don't have resources internally in LCG at this point to administer on a daily, continual basis the calls that come in regarding that matter. So there's a trade-off there. By the same token, we presented to the bidders at that time essentially 38,000 residents for pickup. So we're missing, we might miss 100. We have some numbers. Missed pickups documented in the last, going backwards from last month in August, 44, 58, 50, 51, 81. Something happened in March, we had 200. So we had failure points, but when you're doing it in the concept of 8 pickups for 38,000 homes, the ratio is a pretty good ratio. They're pretty successful. We have, I don't know why we have these particular trouble spots where you have one resident that's missed 30 times. I mean, I've lived in Lafayette my whole life. I've never missed a pickup that it was the fault of the contractor. I didn't put it out a couple of times, but that was me. And I'm not saying that that's the case, but I don't. There's probably a reason. Is the placement of the can hidden by brush? I don't know why we have these trouble spots, but maybe some investigation needs to be done on those individuals.
Well,
but with that said, this is the system we have, and we created it. They bid on it and accepted the conditions. So we can certainly ask them to change things, and if it's mutually beneficial or helps their PR or whatever, then maybe we can come to some agreement.
Mr. Dubrock, that's my goal here. You never know until you ask.
That's very
why
true.
I'm doing this tonight.
Yeah.
Because I'm a little sick and tired of it, and a lot of people are.
Excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I apologize.
No, that's fine. I'm just saying that we get so many phone calls. It's nonstop, over and over again. It's for the same issues. And granted, that's our jobs. That's what we're supposed to do. But the residents are getting tired of it. They're the ones who are getting tired of keep having to contact us. Now, to follow up, you were talking about your average month. The average monthly service effective rate has to be below 99.75, or it has to be, no, I'm sorry, it has to be above that. If it drops below that, and that entitles or includes garbage, recycling, and yard waste, all 3 of them, and it has to be for a certain period of time. If they drop below that, they'll get fined $75,000. To my knowledge, since I've been on the council, Republic Services has never been fined $75,000 for falling below that because it entails all 3 at one time. Is that correct?
That's my understanding of it. And,
Okay.
It's also my understanding that hasn't occurred, but we're investigating that as well.
Okay. And we talk about what's in the contract. What's interesting is that resident who's paying for a service that should be provided are also posed with restrictions and regulations that they have to follow, which means they have to put the card out at a certain time. They have to bring the card in at a certain time. If you don't pull your card in, guess what? A residential homeowner can be fined, and if a residential homeowner doesn't pay the fine, then you can put a lien on their house. Now, has that ever happened or not? I sure in the heck hope not, because I would not be happy. But it's in the contract. So if we have all these specific things that applies to a resident who's actually paying the tab, what can we do to help these residents when they're encountering situations like this where we all have to be entailed? I mean, we're looking at Republic was involved, LCG was involved, the council was involved, council clerks were involved, I was involved. We've got all these people running around to get one trash can to get picked up. You see my point? So, as I mentioned, Republic Services, I am asking you to take a look at what I mentioned earlier in trying to figure out a way to have some kind of escrow account, something that a customer can see if they have been missed. A credit can be put on your account. Look, if it was our fault, guys, maybe I don't know if Republic is interested in doing that. An $80 million contract to me sounds like it would be something you guys need to look at, because the residents of Lafayette and Unincorporated are paying a lot of money for service. We sure hope. I'm not saying that you have to, because the contract has already been approved till 2023. Amazing to me. Mr. Chair, I'm going to tend to the microphone for now, and if any other council members have any other questions, I'll come back later. Thank you.
I just want to verify a couple of things and share a few concerns as well. A figure of $40,000 was mentioned. Is that confirmed? Is that the current dollar amount that the contractor has paid to LCG for verified missed pickups this particular year?
That would be since March. That's 6 months.
6 months?
Yeah, that was
So that's
6
the figure.
months.
Okay, Mr. Terry, you'll just hand me the report from the environmental quality manager. Okay. So, and this is, I think, the story, and I want to actually see if we could get a response, but this is a message that I received, gentlemen. I'm here again complaining about our garbage services. Since last Thursday, we've been calling them because they haven't picked up at all on this road. Every day they promise to be here, but haven't been here yet. Today I called them, and now they say they guarantee tomorrow. Very agitated now. Can you motivate them? Some people even employed in this government, garbage collections at certain locations, and our Wi-Fi just went down, so that's not good either. But garbage collection at certain locations missed. So I guess my question is, in the past, when we've had these type of conversations, when we used to do rear loader, manual loader, we ran into some employee issues. You know, if it's raining, we couldn't get people to get on the back of the trucks. There were delays. We went to automation. We said automation was supposed to correct a lot of business. It's a driver. Nobody has to get out in the rain. Nobody has to get out in the snow. Nobody has to get out in the cold. You know, the arm does all the work. We went through a learning curve where streets, drivers was learning routes. We know, hey, if you don't make one turn, you could miss a lot of houses, right? Reality, not an excuse, reality. You all tell us what's going on. There's a lot of complaints. What are you all experiencing in your agency that it has become difficult to satisfy this contract? I respect what our director has said. I love that gentleman to death. Percentage-wise, on paper, it may not look bad, but when the garbage don't leave your house and you have maggots or it smells or you got an event coming up, it could be one house one time. It's a bad situation. What's going on?
Sure. Be happy to talk and answer some of these questions. So the for instance, of the customer, our customer, we take that very seriously. And we take the contract that we're involved in very seriously. We obviously want to be a partnership with y'all. I mean, that's our goal. And our goal is service. We're in here for service, and we're a service-oriented business, and that is our priority, and that is going to continue to be our priority, is our service. So just speaking of this, for instance, this particular customer that Mr. Terrio had mentioned is a Tuesday service. Republic Services was not notified. We have no records in our system until Saturday, the following Saturday. That Saturday, Republic Services was notified. We went out, my operations manager sent out a supervisor to that particular address on the following Monday to speak to this customer. We met with the customer. The customer informed us not to service their container and just to leave it out to the following day because their next day is pickup. So it was not a full week. It was actually a Sunday that this particular instance was missed. I found out on Monday as well. I personally drove out to this customer's home, pulled up into their driveway, exited my vehicle, and met with them one-on-one to find out what's going on. I want to know from my constituents and customers what our service problems are. So I wanted to take time out of my day to find out. I want to hear right from the customer's mouth what's going on. So that's one of the reasons why I was brought here and relocated here. So my background is operations and in helping to resolve some of our service-related problems. So with this particular instance, we had a supervisor go out there. There was fish parts and pieces, and it was very stinky. And you know, the customer did not notify us until that following Saturday, the Tuesday after their pickup. So I don't know if they had called because they recently put some stuff in there that really stunk and they didn't want it by their house. They did not specifically say that to me, but that's what they told me that was inside their shrimp and fish parts, and it did stink because I did verify it was still at the street.
Let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
From your performance standard,
Yes, sir.
and based on the reports that you all have been receiving, obviously there's a fine, the fine amount speaks for itself that
Yep.
does that. From your performance standard, have you seen anything that you could share with us that the public could hear or we could share with our constituents that says, look, we've run into these issues, these are the things we're doing to correct it? Like I said, for example, I remember the time where we had personnel issues. It was hard getting people to come to work. I know at time, you know, it's been something that, you know, unacceptable. There's a contract in place, it's performance, you know, generate, but is that something you could tell us? I'm saying that because getting off into fish parts and shrimp peels, I wish I had shrimp peels in my can.
That's right.
You know, I don't, but I want to hear, what is the problem and how do we fix it leaving here tonight? I don't want to, you know, get into the storytelling per se.
Right.
Have y'all identified something, or do y'all don't see that there's an issue here and maybe it's us?
Well,
don't
you know, I can't speak to the past. I've only been to this facility for 5 or 6 weeks. I mean, I can have my operations manager. But we had an opportunity to meet with the LCG staff, and I think there is a disconnect. A lot of some of the things that we've heard is a disconnect with the bulk service. It's a one-time a month service, and I don't think there is effective communication as to when their service or their day of or the week of their service is. So I think there's a little bit of disconnect there, and I think if we could do a better job of communicating when their service days are, I mean, I think that will solve some of our problems. You know, with that said, you know, it's more than just curbside garbage, yard waste. We also offer white goods and the one-time a month bulk goods on top of the recycling. So we got 5 different trucks going down the same street servicing 56,000 customers. So actually our percentage is higher than that. So I think there may be some confusion if they see a truck go by and they don't pick it up, but we're picking up a specific service. So we're going to try to be more proactive in communicating to our customers on the day of service and what we're servicing and why. So that's what we see. And we've made some internal changes in our operation and how we can be more proactive. We've also established one of our office gals that is just designated to LCG in handling not necessarily complaints, but being proactive, whether it is a missed pickup or another service that's needed or a cart. We have her designated for you. So when a call comes in, the goal is to respond that same day. Even if it's, hey, the wheel fell off my cart, and we have someone in the area, we're going to try to be proactive to take care of it that day. You don't even have to wait 24 hours, even if it's something that we're not responsible for. So internally, that's, you know, we're making some nice positive changes.
Right. Okay, that's good to hear. So let's talk specifically about garbage. I understand the 5 different services down the one road. Specifically about garbage, a missed pickup. What I see a lot, that comes into the office because I see a lot of the emails. What happens here at the council office, and that's kind of separate, what goes directly to EQ. A complaint comes into our office because people like talking to us, and then in turn, we'll send that to EQ so they could get the inspectors on it, the verification aspect, and we'll copy your representative saying that so-and-so has called in, their garbage has not been picked up. I'm not talking about, let me show you our experience here. I'm not talking about the ones who normally get Tuesday pickup at 7 o'clock in the morning, but it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I know the contract don't say 7 o'clock in the morning, right?
Yes, sir.
That's not the ones I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ones that they go to bed, they wake up Wednesday morning and it's still there.
Right.
Okay? Or the ones where everybody on the west side of the road has been picked up, but the east side has not. The truck forgot to turn around or something.
Yes, sir.
I'm talking about some real life issues. Then you get, like what I said, they call, and we have recommended that they do a direct contact and make sure we are aware so we could get the clock ticking, because we've had concerns that years ago, LCG was not doing a good job of getting that punitive effect, making sure that things was getting done. So we try to bring everybody into the loop. But when they call and they get that response, we'll get to it today, and today don't come. How much of that are you guys seeing? Because we're hearing it a lot, okay? For what we do. And, you know, that's what a lot of the complaints look like that I have seen. It's like, it was missed, fine. A call goes in, we're gonna get to it. Well, guess what? We don't get to it. And I realize trucks on routes, right? Sometimes supervisors will go in a pickup truck. I've seen all the stories. But these are the real life issues.
Yes, sir.
And I'm trying to get real life answers.
Yes.
And that's why I wanted clarification here earlier, is because reporting in this process is so paramount.
Yep.
Because, again, until it's verified or it's known, it's like it didn't actually happen.
I will speak to that, and I don't want to get too far into the weeds about our industry and what we do and how we operate, but we did have a meeting with these fine gentlemen and ladies over here, and we did speak about resolution. What is the resolution and what's the right way to go about it? So we're set up, in our routing, we're set up what's called a summary route, right? We do not have individually listed customers on our route sheets. It's, this route goes out with 600 customers or 900 customers. That's it. Republic Services does not right now have the capability to identify who we picked up and who was not out. We call them not outs, who was not out for service. So we're starting to work with LCG to maybe get a list so we can start identifying, to get it in real time, to be proactive into how to avoid this. So we can send everyone here a report. You know what? This date and this time we drove past your house and that can was not out for service. We have it documented. Mm-hmm. That will help when you guys get calls and field the calls to resolve them quicker and with better responses.
Is that like that smart can thing where
our company,
whether it's serviced or you could put in a report, too close to pole, was unable to service, can was not out, did not service? Is that thing?
So we do have some camera services, but our company is proactively working on, and I don't know when it's going to be, but it's going to be in the next year or so. They're going to have a program within our trucks that will give a, I don't know how it works, I haven't seen the technology yet, but there's gonna be a way to who's picked up and who's not picked up, and what time the truck went by, and all this other good information. So that's the way that we're heading, and heading quickly. So unfortunately, we don't have that technology now, but if we can work in the meantime of getting some individually listed customers, I think that you will be able to see, better service from us, and be able to better communicate that back to you guys, so we can eliminate the problems.
So I'm gonna, I think Mr. Terrio has some more he wants to ask, so the last thing is gonna be directed here. What we're gonna do, I'm gonna ask the council staff through our assistants, those frequent misses, and I'm gonna call frequent 10 or more, within 2 years, because that's a lot for me, okay? And what I'm gonna ask is if they will pay visits specifically to those households. We're gonna call them the real problem issues. Like you said, I haven't been missed that many times either, other than the times where I didn't get my cart to the road on time. But there are some people who have legitimately been missed, and in their mind, for some, if their cart was missed twice or 3 times, and their yard waste was missed 2 or 3 times, and their recycling was missed 2 or 3 times, now it goes back to like what was said earlier, those 5 trucks that come, it seemed like nobody stopped at all for anything. And then the brown goods or the white goods, if it'd been out for 3 weeks, not realizing that their day of pickup was the last day of the month, but they put it out the first day of the month, they thinking somebody's coming. I know we've tried to address those issues. But what I'm gonna ask is for somehow, if we could generate a document throughout the city parish, that is, where 10 or more calls have been, or complaints have been made, that they at least go talk directly to those individuals and make sure that things like placement and obstructions is not the issue, and hear what the issue really is from that person. So thank you, and I just wanted to try to get to some resolutions before we get too long. Mr. Terrio?
Thank you. What's interesting, on a funny note, after I put this on the agenda to have a discussion about it, believe it or not, last Friday, my trash was missed. So I called in LCG on Saturday to make sure they were aware of it, and let them know, and then contacted Republic Services, and they picked it up Saturday. So I thought that was interesting. I want to follow up on something you mentioned earlier in reference to the situation I had spoke of and read initially. I've got verification from our council office that the individual did, in fact, contact the council office immediately. So where that disconnect is, I don't know. That's what you mentioned earlier. There's some kind of disconnect. We need to find it. Because how can you not know about it until Saturday when the council office was notified during the week? You see what I'm getting at, Mr.
Oh,
DeBoer?
absolutely. And we need to,
I can speak to that, Mr. Terrio.
Yes, Mr. Board.
The same system that's utilized by the council office is the city work system that I use in my office every day. And several years ago, I tied that system into emails associated with Republic Services. So any complaint that is entered upon saving is sent to Republic in real time. Now, it may be something on their end, receiving and processing that email, but when that is entered, whether it's by myself or by Mr. Wiltz, it's received through Republic immediately when we save it.
Well, I just want to be very clear, because it seemed to imply that you guys were not notified until the Saturday, and that maybe an individual hadn't actually notified him, but, oh, no. We got verification that they absolutely contacted the council office early in the week. So where that is, I don't know.
and that the council forwarded from there.
I mean, that's normal protocol. Whenever an individual contacts the council office does what they do best, because they always move that out. Do they give, whenever an individual calls Republic Direct, do y'all give them like some kind of ID number or claim number or complaint number? Yes, no?
our customer resource center, which is where most of our calls go, they will give them a confirmation or an ID number, logging their phone, their call or their complaint, and they give that to the caller. So they get a number.
Another question, Mr. Dubrock, and I'm just throwing this out there. Like, what if? Right now, we're in a position where a resident will either contact Republic Services or contact the LCG. Why don't we have, or if we can, have some kind of call center that the residents, all residents can call. That way, dispatch it to Republic and LCG instead of having to call one or the other, and just have one that we can call.
That's supposed to be their call center number, and that is the number that is supposed to be called for any issue with service.
But that brings us back to the honor system.
Agreed. And I'll say that in 2008, we probably didn't have the technology to be able to simultaneously have them send us confirmation of each call. And it's certainly something that's technologically possible. It's just not part of our agreement at this time. So your request to have that is a reasonable request, but it's a request. We can't dictate to that within the constraints of the contract unless Mr. Escott says, yeah, we can do that.
Well,
But I don't
understand.
read it that way, but that's the agreement that we have.
And Republic wants to keep our business, so hopefully,
do,
you
and
know,
they
I
do.
think that, you know, we'll have some discussions about this. Gentlemen, I want to be very clear that I don't want to have this discussion tonight and have this go away. The two specific things that I want to get something from you guys if I can. Number one, escrow account, see what can be done. If that's possible, I don't know, Mr. Boudreau, if the rest of the council is interested in knowing about it or not, but I sure am, okay? I want to know if, at the very least, you don't have to send money back, but maybe credit their account, if it can be done. The second question is what we just talked about. What can be done to have a specific call center? Republic, no. LCG, no. An independent call center that will disperse to both parties, therefore notifying both parties at that time of a missed pickup or issue, or an issue or a problem with that. I mean, that sounds like common sense, doesn't it? Because right here, we're relying on one or the other, and somehow the ball or something's not getting connected in between. So, guys, please, again, you know, we make the comment, everybody laughs when you say, yeah, we're talking trash. We always, but in the past, you guys have come, not you particularly, we have had Republic Services before this council, even after the contract and before the contract. We've had Allied Waste before them, before the contract, after the contract. There has always been something that has come before the council. This is nothing new, what we're going through right now. We've done this before many times. We need to find, you know, and resolve some of these issues if we can. We must. So, guys, thank you so much for your time. Mr. Boudreau, that's all I have for now. I don't know if anybody else has any questions.
Yeah, there's some more. Just out of an abundance of caution, if you don't mind, any considerations you make, send that, as Mr. Terrio has requested, but send it to the administration, into the legal department. Please, Mr. Stutz has left, but actually, councils can't negotiate contracts, and some of what is being asked may be constituting negotiation of a contract or at least a consideration thereof. But if you send it to our attorney, and if you send it to the administration, I think we're going to be very well protected, and Mr. Terrio could certainly be able to see it and make any considerations through those individuals.
I'll have to get a hold of my
Right, but
corporate
anything
office
that's
and-
considered, I know when I saw the announcement the other day about the recycling plastics and whatnot, more plastics and whatnot, I was wondering, I said, I wonder if that more means different and new, but just let's be
More
cautious.
means we're accepting 1 through 7 now versus just 1 and 2, so that is.
Oh, I understood that. I just wanted, I
Very-
didn't know if
very
that
good
meant a new
positive.
contract,
So-
yeah. Oh, I know what one.
I like to talk positives too.
Yeah, I just don't do jail. Mr. Bellard.
Yes, the only thing that I can comment on, and I spoke to you before the meeting, is I have several streets that have been missed. I'll be emailing you guys just so we can put that on y'all radar and y'all can look into it.
Happy
And
to.
just hopefully it won't happen again. That's all I have, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
Are there any other council members who have any questions on this discussion item that was brought forth by Mr. Terry? There are none, but Mr. Brown, I want to give you the opportunity as the department head. Is there anything you would like to offer, any comments you want to say, or are we good where we at? Or?
Well, just personally, you all know that as Steve is new on his job, I'm fairly new at mine, and I was not aware of the concerns about this contract and these issues until last week when Mr. Terrio brought it to my attention. And so we're not selling it short, and I need to find out what is actually happening. The numbers are not, that I see from the big picture of the whole contract, are not disturbing. I mean, they're meeting the requirements of the contract with their success ratio. But these particular problem areas, we do need. I liked your idea. If you have a constituent that has had multiple misses, let's do some kind of, if it's them or if it's us, let's figure out what's going on. I mean, I tend to think there's something about that location maybe. I mean, you could go back and say maybe it's the person on that truck. I mean, but I think that varies from day to day and week to week. So I think we need to investigate those particular cases, but I don't think it's an endemic problem with the whole system. You know, and again, we have an agreement. We have a very good price. If you farm this service out on an individual basis, we can't get an actual number of what would this service cost an individual. If you went and said, I want this service at my house, what would it cost you? And our speculation, it's somewhere 2.5 to 3 times what we're paying for it, or what our constituents are paying for it. So part of the limitations in service and the restrictions that we have are in consideration of that lower price. So it's a contract that we have, and we can try to modify it where we can and where we need to, and in some places we may just have to live with it. But you know, let's investigate and let's do due diligence to ourselves and to our constituents.
Okay, thank you very much. Gentlemen, anything, or you, any closing? Good? Okay. Thank y'all very much, and we'll have some follow-up, obviously.
Oh, blue cards.
Yeah, we're gonna go to those now. Yes, sir. If there are any. Blue cards on this item?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there are none. Okay, thank y'all very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move to ordinances for final adoption. Again, this is a public hearing, and blue sheets are available for anyone wishing to address the council. The 5-minute rule does apply. Liz, could you please read item number 7?
Ordinance 181, 2017, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council authorizing the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government to sell at an internet auction miscellaneous surplus LCG movable property which are no longer needed for public purposes as per the attached list.
Motion, someone? Motion by Bellard, second by Ms. Liz. Thank you very much. Council discussion. There is none. Any blue cards?
No, sir.
You okay? Okay. All right, please call the vote.
District 2? District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9?
Yes.
District 1?
Yes.
Motion is approved. Ordinance 185, 2017, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council declaring the building or structure located at 503 South Washington Street, Lafayette, Louisiana, owned by Wallace Allen III and DeMonica Latrice Baldwin Allen in care of Cheryl J. Block, attorney appointed, to be dilapidated and dangerous to the public welfare and ordering the condemnation of same.
Motion by Bellard, second by Lewis. Castile? Castile made the motion, Lewis made the second. Council discussion? There is none. Any blue cards? Please call the vote.
District 3? District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8? District 9? District 1? District 2? Motion is approved.
Okay, as a reminder, item number 9 has been deferred indefinitely at the request of the administration as they are waiting on a legal opinion. Please go to item 10.
Ordinance 188, 2017, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council declaring the purchase of certain property bearing municipal addresses of 500 Guidry Street, 401 Dorset Avenue, and 309 Dorset Avenue, Lafayette, Louisiana, to be a public necessity, authorizing the Lafayette Mayor President to acquire said immovable property on the terms and conditions specified herein, and to amend the fiscal year 2016-17 capital budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by adjusting projects within the Department of Public Works to provide funding needed for said purchase.
Motion by Conk, second by Nakane. What you've just received is a handout that is going to serve as an amendment to this particular ordinance, showing the actual plat. Hey, look. And I think Mr. Hebert is going to give us an explanation, and then we'll see who will consider that amendment.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, the ordinance references the plat that you've received, and it just wasn't in your agenda packet. So an amendment is appropriate just to make sure that the plat that is referenced in the ordinance is in fact attached to the ordinance.
Okay, is somebody willing to make that amendment? Conk is going to make that amendment. Somebody second? Mr. Castile. Okay, we're going to open up the floor for council discussion. Mr. William Terrio.
Mr. Aber, go ahead and explain what it is that this particular thing is doing, which means, I guess the question is, why is LCG saying that this fund is needed for said purchase?
This property is adjacent to the existing Public Works facility and has been, in fact, used by Public Works for many years, primarily for the storage of equipment and a few supplies, and it was just deemed to be vital to the continued operations of Public Works to actually purchase the property, to have the property rights in total for that tract.
Did you guys make a good deal?
It certainly appears to be a good deal. There were this has been in the works for several years. There were 3 different appraisals on the property, so it appears to be a good deal.
We hope. All right. Thank you, Mr. Aber.
Certainly.
That's all I.
Any other council discussion? There is none. Any blue cards?
No, sir.
Okay, there are no blue cards. We're going to have to vote twice on this one. First, on the amendment that was offered by Conk and second by Castile. Please call the vote on the amendment.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5, District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9? District 1? District 2? District 3? Motion is approved to amend.
Thank you. As amended, please call the vote.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9?
Yes.
District 1? District 2? District 3? Motion is approved as amended. Ordinance 189, 2017, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the fiscal year 16-17 capital budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by transferring $16,855 from capital work orders within the Lafayette Fire Department and appropriating to renovations Station 8 for additional funding needed.
Motion by Nakane, second by Castile. Council discussion? There is none. Any blue cards?
No, sir.
Please call the vote.
District 5? District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9? District 1?
Yes.
District 2? District 3? District 4?
Yes.
Motion is approved. Ordinance 190, 2017. An ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council authorizing the filing of 2 grant applications with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security for assistance to firefighters grants for the Lafayette Fire Department.
Motion by Mr. Lewis, second by Ms. Cook. Council discussion. There is none. Any blue cards on this matter? Please call the vote.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9?
Yes.
District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
Motion is approved. Ordinance 191, 2017. An ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council authorizing the filing of an application with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security for a regional assistance to firefighters grant for the Lafayette Fire Department.
Motion by Lewis, second by Cook. Council discussion. There is none. Any blue cards?
Yes, sir.
Please call the vote.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9?
Yes.
District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5? District 6?
Yes.
Motion is approved. Ordinance 192, 2017, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the fiscal year 16-17 operating budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by increasing revenues in the amount of $45,951 in housing counseling program funds received from the Louisiana Housing Corporation and appropriating within the Community Development Department.
Moved by Cone. Second by Hebert. Council discussion? There is none. Any blue cards?
Yes, sir.
Please call the vote.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9?
Yes.
District 1? Yes. District 2?
Yes.
District 3? Yes. District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
All right, members, we have an appeal on the agenda. This is a public hearing. Blue sheets are available for anyone wishing to address the council. The 5-minute rule does apply. Liz, could you please read item number 15?
Appeal of Planning Commission action, Pride's Crossing re-subdivision of Lot 10, PC 2017-57.
Ms. G.
Good evening. I feel like I haven't seen you guys in a long time.
Really?
And I'm actually going to see you guys at the next meeting too, so
Cool.
I'm a popular lady this month. All right, so what we have in front of us today is an appeal of Planning Commission action. This development was granted preliminary approval at the Planning Commission September meeting. And basically what it is, it's a subdivision of 10 acres of property into 2 lots for commercial use. One of the conditions of development was that sidewalks were to be constructed along all public streets. The developer has appealed the Planning Commission's decision to request that he does not have to construct the sidewalks along the public roadway. Just as full disclosure, just to kind of give you the background, when this particular development, which is Pride's Crossing, came through, it was developed under the old parish subdivision regulations. So at that time, sidewalks were not required along public streets. They were only required in the city, in the city limits, basically. So at the time, sidewalks were not required because it was in the unincorporated. In order to get the water services that they needed, they actually had to annex into the city after the development basically came through. The nearest sidewalks are going to be on Pinhook, and once East Barrow School Road is widened, part of that project is to actually construct sidewalks. So you will have sidewalks at Pinhook and you will have sidewalks at East Barrow School Road, but within this development, there are no other sidewalks.
And this is currently in the city limits.
Currently, yes, sir, it's in the city limits in IL, which is Industrial Light Zoning District.
Okay. Approval was granted based on this condition. Did I hear you say that correctly?
Approval was granted based on lots of conditions, but one of those conditions, yes, was that
I
sidewalks were to be
apologize.
required.
What is being appealed here was a condition of approval.
Correct, yes,
One
sir.
of many. Any questions for Sarah? Is there a representative for the developer here? Come forward, please, sir. Could make an appearance for the record and present
Thank
your
you. My name is Hammy Davis. I represent myself and 2 partners, Denbo Montgomery and Tommy Montgomery. We own the Pride's Crossing development. I always like to look back, and in 2011, we were being taxed $2,298 for this tract, 40-acre tract of land. At present, in 2016, it's up to $44,371 with 4 brand-new buildings have been built on the site. As you'll see from here, when we built it in 2013, no sidewalks were required. And if you're looking at Verrett School Road, which is right here, Barrett School Road, well, Sage Glen, I'm sorry. Let me get myself acclimated right here. I'm sorry. This is Verrett School Road. So just so you're clear, the only reason we're now talking about this lot is because we've asked to split it in half. We had a 10-acre tract, just weren't able to sell it. So we're coming back now asking for just to cut it in half. There are no sidewalks down Sage Glen. There are no sidewalks down Pride Crossing Boulevard. There are no sidewalks to South College. As a matter of fact, two of my partners were instrumental in making South College connect to Denbo Street. That's going to be the ultimate connector all the way down to Pinhook. There will be no sidewalks on this new road connection. The city's not building sidewalks either. I'm a big believer in sidewalks. In an industrial area, I think it's dangerous. I think it's a big mistake. You got people who think they're going to walk through here when we got heavy trucks coming and going. This is the most heavy industrial use in the city of Lafayette. You know, it's a light industrial, quote unquote light industrial, but it is the heaviest there is. We have built this to cost about $3 million. When we came in, we didn't expect to have sidewalks. When I priced the lots, we didn't expect to have sidewalks. We didn't expect these gentlemen who are buying the lot to have to spend money on sidewalks because that wasn't a requirement. The sidewalks cost us about an extra $15,000. All we're asking, saying everything else. We put everything underground. We put sewer, we put water. We did everything right. And at this stage of the game, I feel like a whiner, but I just, in this instance, I just felt like merely because we were trying to make it marketable and make a site that someone would buy, which we have a contract on and we'll close next week, and bring tax dollars, you're gonna burden me with something that I just was not expecting. And so I'm asking you not to make me put sidewalks and inconsistent with everything else that's out here. There are no sidewalks. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Mr. Bellard?
How much are you selling the lots for? Or if you don't want to disclose, I'm just...
No, they're different for every lot. Just depends on how big they are. I mean, it just, like I said, it just depends. It's somewhere between $2 and $3 a square foot. The one thing about an industrial development, just to let you know, is it's a long-term hold. It's not like a residential development where you're in it. We're still in the bank on this deal. We've been at it for about 5 years, and the downturn didn't help us.
I guess my next question will be for Ms. Gary. The only, I would say, is it, no, I don't know if it's residential. On Dembo, is that residential right there that I'm looking at where it says MMK Properties LLC? Is it?
No, let me
That's
grab my
all.
book.
Or any residential anywhere around here?
Yes, there is residential around here, but the predominant use in the area is not residential. So if you're looking at your plat, you'll see that you see Sage Glen going down, I guess you could say southwest.
Right. I do.
That area between Pinhook and where it comes into this development, there are a scattering of houses. Now, as you get closer to Pinhook, that's where you have the Burger King at the light and that little complex right there, it turns commercial, but there are a few houses in the area. But the predominant use is in industrial. Everything to the north of this, where Denbo picks up, that's all industrial. Everything in his complex is industrial. Everything you see at Decal Street, going out towards Vero School Road is an industrial area.
I'd make a point. It was residential. They've all flooded about 4 to 5 times. No problem of ours.
Well, Hammond, you just almost said you're putting them underwater, but you
No.
You put your utility. I know.
They were having problems before us. We've clearly got high ground, but there's a major tributary that runs,
But that had nothing to do with my question with sidewalks.
I'm saying they're gone.
No,
The residential are no longer there.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Ms. Gary, what, you say you like being here. I mean, you hadn't been here in a while. Let's make it
I
work.
don't like to be on camera, though.
Can you give us an
Camera's off.
Can you give us an appreciation of how did this discussion go at the Planning Commission
Yes, sir. So
on this matter?
on this particular
ma'am.
matter, we did not have any public opposition, but we did have some, I guess, issues you could say with the commission. The commission we have is very pro-sidewalk. The first motion that was made by the commission was to approve with the sidewalk waiver. However, that motion ended up being denied because we did not have, and it was denied, not an outright denial, we just did not have the 4 votes needed for the approval. Because we did not have a full commission that night. So I think the vote, if I'm not mistaken, was, let me find my minutes in here. The first vote was 3-2. And for approval, you needed a vote of 4
Right.
to go through. So when they realized that it wasn't going to go through, they immediately made a motion to reconsider. And so in that motion it passed and they reconsidered, and then they re-motioned to grant preliminary plat approval with no waivers. And that went through, and that's how Mr. Davis's development or re-subdivision of his lot was granted approval, preliminary plat approval.
So the beauty of it was that was able to get plat approval, but unfortunately it wasn't with the waivers that was initially requested.
Correct, yes, sir.
Now, I was looking through the packet, and when I looked through it initially, I didn't see a recommendation from the department. Was there one as it relates to this matter?
We recommend recommend plat approval based off all conditions.
Recommend plat approval based on all
Conditions, as i.e. him putting in the sidewalks.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes, we're pro
I wasn't
sidewalks.
finished, Mr. Boudreaux.
I'm
That's all right.
sorry.
Taking your chair privileges, I understand.
Nah, I would never do such a thing.
Ms. Gary,
Yes, sir.
are these particular lots around here, and I guess I'm almost in favor of the waiver, because if they don't have any sidewalks already, and I'm just going to explain why I know, and I want you to tell me what you think.
Yes, sir.
Because I kind of know, but what I'm saying is, are we doing this because that is in the codes that we want everyone, it comes with everything, kind of like we've seen in the past, and therefore the council has to look at each situation differently, and then we make our judgment. Is that why the sidewalks are being in, or do you see any of these areas around here gonna put sidewalks in?
Okay, so.
Double-sided question, by the way.
Correct. So the reason why sidewalks are required today is because the code today requires sidewalks. And so, if he'd have come through and platted 20 years ago, and then 10 years ago, that code shift would have been different, and then fast forward 10 years now, the code shift is different, obviously. So anytime you come in to replat property, you're coming in to replat it under today's rules and regulations.
Right.
Now, so that's how sidewalks came to be on this particular piece. We actually have another piece within this development, which are on the corner, the northeastern corner of Pride's Crossing and East Vero School Road, where they are coming in and re-subdividing 3 lots.
Lot
And-
8 and 9, is that where we're at?
No, you're not gonna see it on this plat, because it's further, it's at Vero School Road, actually. So it's the southeast, I think I said northeast, sorry. It is actually the southeast, to the south of where you see, going toward, at Vero School Road. And so basically, and I don't have the larger plat, sorry, for the whole
Okay.
development, but sidewalks are required for that re-subdivision of those 3 lots.
Or are there sidewalks around that area already?
No. These would be the first.
Would it
and
be
if-
industrial where you're talking about in the future too?
Yes, yes. I mean, this entire development that Mr. Davis did, that whole swath of land, Hammy, how many acres was it originally? For the whole 40 acres he developed as Pride's Crossing is in the city zoned IL.
Okay, I have no other questions at the time.
Thank you very much. Any other council discussion? Okay. We have heard from the developer on this matter. Are there any other blue cards of anyone who signed in for this matter?
No, sir, other than Hammy Davis, there are no other blue cards.
Right. Okay. Mr. Bellard is going to speak in a second, but members, you can consider at this point what action you want to take. There is an appeal of the Planning Commission action is what is being considered here. Their actions was to stipulate all these things. Mr. Davis has come asking for something not to be, so you could, we're going to get Mr. Escott to explain it better than I can, but you're going to be able to move in just a second. Oh, you want the explanation? Okay. You're rubbing your ear over there. What's wrong? Oh, okay. Thought that was a baseball signal or something, like bunt. Mr. Escott, let's clarify for the council what the considerations are, please, sir.
Sure. The appeal before the council is, if it's granted, if you grant the appeal, the preliminary plat approval would be approved without the requirement that he build sidewalks. If you vote no or deny, whatever word or you want to use, if you deny the appeal, then he would have to follow the original preliminary plat approval by the commission that would include the construction of sidewalks.
Okay.
So-
So actually, no movement is necessary by a member. We're going to just vote on the appeal as it was
Right,
presented.
you can submit it to the council for vote with the understanding that you're voting on the appeal itself. And yes, grants his the appeal and gives him relief from the sidewalks. No, leaves it as is, and he has to build sidewalks.
Okay, and that's what we're going to follow, members. The appeal is going to stand on its own as is. No one is going to be required to make any motion that probably would become confusing anyway. As Mr. Escott has indicated, if you vote yes, Mr. Davis walks out of here with $15,000 that you don't have to spend, according to his numbers. And if you vote no, you have to spend it. All right? No questions? Let's call the vote, please.
District 9,
Yes.
District 1, District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5,
Yes, to grant the appeal.
6,
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
District 8.
Yes.
Motion to grant the appeal has been approved.
All right, thank you very much. We will now move to announcements of vacancies on boards and commissions. Liz, 16 and 17, please.
Due to expiration, a vacancy will exist on the Hyman Performing Arts Center and FF Bustani Convention Center Board for a 4-year term effective December 1st, 2017. Due to resignation, a vacancy exists on the Planning and Zoning Commission for 3 years and 2 months, the remainder of an unexpired 5-year term. Applicants must reside within the unincorporated area of the parish of Lafayette. Individuals wishing to submit a resume for the above volunteer vacancies must be a registered voter and a resident of Lafayette Parish. Yearly ethics trainings for all appointees is required, as is financial disclosure under certain circumstances. Resumes are to be forwarded to Veronica L. Williams, Clerk of the Council, P.O. Box 4017-C, Lafayette, Louisiana, 70502, or emailed to bclafayette@lafayettela.gov no later than noon, Tuesday, October 17th, with appointments to be made on November 7th, 2017.
Thank you very much. We're going to now consider appointments by the council as a whole to boards and commissions. Item 18, as it relates to the Lafayette Airport Commission. Liz, could you please read that item?
Appointment to the Lafayette Airport Commission for a 4-year term effective November 1st, 2017. Applicants must reside within the unincorporated area of the parish of Lafayette.
All right, thank you very much. Again, the resumes received for considerations are from Robert L. Boudreau III, as well as Matthew Cruz. Matthew Cruz is the incumbent in this particular case. We have 3 individuals looking to nominate someone. First up is Mr. Bellard.
Yes, I'd like to nominate Mr. Cruz.
Cruz has been submitted. Ms. Abear?
I would like to nominate Mr. Boudreaux.
Boudreaux has been submitted, so both applicants have in fact been nominated. Therefore, we're going to do a name vote, please. When your number is called, please vote by name, Cruz or Boudreaux.
District 1, District 2, District 3, District 4,
Cruz.
District 5, District 6, District 7, District 8, District 9. Matthew Cruz has been appointed.
Thank you very much.
Appoint-
Item 19, please.
Appointment to the Mayor President's Awareness Committee on Citizens with Disabilities for a 3-year term effective November 1st, 2017. Applicants must have disability life experience.
Okay, for this particular one, the resumes received for considerations are from Mr. Kobe Foreman, Linda Diane Kursky, or David Corey. There is no incumbent in these submissions. Ms. Cook?
Yes, I'd like to nominate David Corey.
Corey has been nominated. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Going once? Going twice? We're going to close the nominations. Therefore, Corey is the only standing nomination. You could vote yes or no on Corey as your number is called. Please call the vote.
District 2, District 3, District 4,
Yes?